JJK Chapter 271 just came out, and that's it, everybody. That's a wrap on Jujutsu Kaisen as a manga. It's completely over. Now, I've been hearing a lot of negative and positive feedback on this ending, mostly negative. Now, if I want to put my own take on it, I'm going to be totally honest. I think this was a pretty good ending. Now, this is coming from the standpoint of when Naruto ended, I was depressed reading it, right? When it finished, I had nowhere to go, I had nowhere to look, and I turned to One Piece. With Jujutsu Kaisen ending, at least we have 10 other manga we can turn to, like Kagurabachi, Free Run, Vinland Saga's coming back, and there's so many other things coming out right now. Now, before we get into the chapter, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the positive and the negative reviews coming out about this chapter without any spoilers. Now, people seem to have a lot of issues with it. Now, I didn't actually have much of a problem with the chapter today, mainly because it ended exactly how I wanted it to, and I did predict this. But people seem unsatisfied, like they wanted every single thing to be tied up and just wrapped up into a perfect tiny little bow, and I'm going to be honest with you, when Naruto ended, it wasn't like that, man. It's not going to be like that, and it never will be. Now, before we get into the chapter again one more time, I actually want to give you a little bit of a rundown on my background with Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, my story of Jujutsu Kaisen actually started in 2020 when I went to New York City Comic Con with my then girlfriend and infant daughter at the time, and we seen Jujutsu Kaisen 0 movie premiered. Now, when I seen the movie, I was actually a little bit of a hater preemptively, just because that's just the way I am. Like when Naruto ended and I was getting into One Piece, my buddy gave me every reason, and I'm like, nah, I don't like pirates, the animation, blah, blah, blah. And I've been a One Piece diehard ever since 2014. But regardless all that, I was kind of just having a disposition because so many people hype up something, you kind of just have a problem with it, right? You're like, no, there's no way it can be that good, right? Well, I watched Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, and it was, in fact, that good. So after finishing Season 1 in about a day or two, give or take, I ended up purchasing every single physical volume of the manga. And yeah, it maybe took me a few weeks to burn through the manga, but once I caught up with the physical versions of the manga, I immediately picked up the Shonen Jump Plus app and just started binging to catch up to current date. Now, by the time I caught up, we were in the middle of the Gojo and Sukuna fight. Now, this is where we're going to be getting into a little bit of spoilers, so there are going to be spoilers ahead. Now, the death of Gojo actually takes place at the exact same time as Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 starting. So essentially, at that moment, I am at all-time hype and trying to get all of my friends to watch Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. And I remember looking back and thinking, wow, Jujutsu Kaisen is absolutely amazing. I haven't had an anime like this since One Piece. And before One Piece, it was Fullmetal Alchemist. But now, here we are with an upper echelon of Shonen Jump finally showing its true colors, and I am absolutely in love. And it's absolutely crazy to think that at the same time Luffy beat Katakuri and Katakuri falls in chapter 896 with the defeat of the Big Mom Pirates and Katakuri in One Piece, that's the exact same day chapter 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen was released. So that means in real time and One Piece time, Jujutsu Kaisen only lasted about 2.5 arcs of One Piece. Now, to start this chapter off, I'm actually going to give you a warning one more time. We're going to be going into spoilers now. So Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 271 starts with an absolutely beautiful cover spread of every single character of Jujutsu Kaisen alive and dead, except for my boy Takaba. He's missing. I don't know why. I mean, literally, Geto is there, but Takaba is missing. So Choso's there. Everybody's there. If I'm going to be honest, I think that's kind of dropping the ball a little bit. But if I know Gege, maybe that's why he didn't include Takaba. Now, personally, for me, it's a shame that this is indeed the end of Jujutsu Kaisen because this chapter feels so good. We finally have the gang back together, acting all friendly, all hunky-dory, and everybody's having a great time. Everybody's busting jokes, everybody's having fun, and we're just kind of dealing with a mundane curse. As Megumi, Nobara, and Yuji all start talking, they all start kind of realizing, well, actually being here, we might be within range of this curse's ability, or maybe being a curse user. since at this point they're starting to put together that this could be one of the leftover cursed users from the Culling games. Now I love the dichotomy of these three. Yuji makes up some dumb joke, what if I put him on my back and I run? And Megumi tells him, well, that's not gonna work. And Nobara says, yeah, what are you, a dummy? And then Nobara goes, yeah, how about this, we have him stand in an open field. And Megumi goes, that's dumb too. So I just love the dichotomy of these three jokesters all kind of messing with each other. Yeah, Megumi's a little bit serious, but you know he's in on the joke, right? Then they start talking about how maybe they could send him on a vacation and maybe he could go south. And that, I think, is actually a reference to, you know, when Nanami wanted to head south, right? What heading south meant with their personality and what it meant to change as a person. And Nobara even acknowledges it, where she says, well, I don't think I'd want to go south, you know, like she'd like to stay who she was, who she is. Now the gang formulate a plan where they go to the top of the tallest building in the area so that they can see everything in the radius, so that when the curse user uses his ability, it'll pop up. It works. They catch a sight of the curse user, and Nobara gets right into work in one of the most beautiful panels of the entire chapter. I mean, in the last few chapters, this thing is gorgeous. I want more of this. She jumps right out in such a dynamic pose and uses her hammer to just jump right down the skyscraper. Incredible. At the same time, Megumi and Yuji absolutely surround the curse user. They think they're about to get him, but boom, googly eyes. Megumi can't let that stand as their first mission back in action, so he kind of takes this guy out lickety-split with his dog. Now, essentially, this is just a case of a guy thinking that she loved him. He was buying her goods, and she thought that, you know, it didn't mean anything, but to him, it meant everything. Yuji sees the guy in the car, though, because they're about to take him away, and he thinks, let me go talk to him. Yuji says, cheer up, it's not like they're going to execute you. And the guy says, what are you going to do with me? I'm way beyond my age limit. I don't know what your even use for me is. And that's when we get a flashback of what Gojo and Yuji talked about in that letter. Now, that letter moment's kind of a big deal because we were all wondering what was going on. What did Gojo say to Yuji? Now, Yuji's supposed to be doing swap training with Gojo, but Gojo says, why? You're so focused on me, essentially. At this point, if I fail, it's all over unless you guys succeed. And if you guys succeed, you would have already surpassed me. And you surpassing me means that my dream has come true. So all that's left for me is to make sure that it continues to be passed on, so that someone fulfills my dream in the future. And there's only so many people that have the potential to carry on that dream, Yuji. And that person is you. I'm expecting great things from you, Yuji. That's what Gojo says. So essentially, Gojo is expecting Yuji to surpass him in every regard. We go back to Yuji and the stalker, and he says, yeah, you messed up. You acknowledge you messed up. You know you messed up, and you know it was wrong. How about this? Take some time off. Think about what you did. Really reflect on it. In a few weeks, come out on a mission with us, and we'll see how that goes. But don't worry, I'm expecting great things from you. Now, people dislike this moment, and I don't know why, because it's actually Yuji taking the role of Gojo. He's proceeding into the spot people didn't think he could take, or maybe people are upset because they don't think he should fill his shoes. But I think Yuji Itadori, as the main character, deserves and earned his spot as the strongest. Now, after that, Megumi and Nobara ask Yuji, well, what'd you do with that thing? And that thing they're referring to is Suguna's finger. He says, well, I tossed it out. We don't need it anymore. They're like, you tossed it out? Why'd you do that? Well, it's useless. All it's really good for now is just an old, useless talisman. But that's when we immediately cut to Sukuna and Mahito. Sukuna says, welcome to the pathway of the souls. Mahito tries to call Sukuna out and says, you were lying the whole time, weren't you? You weren't living to your own stature. You wanted revenge. Revenge against those who cursed and resented that cursed little wrench. Sukuna says, what's the difference? I lived how I wanted. But he thinks, actually, that's not true. I did have a few different choices, didn't I? I just couldn't get over that curse in my belly, eating me alive. But hey, should there come a next time and it never happen again, maybe I'll walk a different path. Mahito loses it and goes, what the hell? You went soft. Sukuna goes, yeah, I lost. And that's the end of Jujutsu Kaisen. We see all of our friends. We see all of our classmates. We see all of the people we've met all along the way. People are better. People are healed. We've lost some. We've gained so much, though, also. And we've learned 10 times more. And the very last panel, a cursed object sealed away. Now, my theory is because of all the Buddhist and Hindu symbolism that Yuji was in fact Sukuna's second chance at life. Yuji was already that second chance and was the reincarnation of Sukuna. So when Yuji was in his domain and showed all that symbolism and showed him, this is who I am, this is who we are, I think it made Sukuna think, maybe I could have been different. Maybe I still could have been the strongest and not had to do all that. But it also implies that Yuji holds the limitless potential of Sukuna. I mean, like Gojo said, he expects them all to surpass where they are. So, I mean, at this point, if Sukuna is anywhere near where we've seen, Yuji is going to be tenfold past that. And I believe that finger is not Sukuna's finger. And if you look at it closely, you can see it's altered. I believe that finger is Yuji's finger, because Yuji created the new cursed object and is going to do exactly what Sukuna did and have his spirit be passed down through the generations, except this time, instead of spreading malevolence and pain and suffering and curses, Yuji will free people and spread hope and forgiveness and salvation. And Yuji will spread the enlightenment across the cursed world. Now, that's my take on the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen 271. I did not mind it. I think everybody else had a really big problem with it, but if you ask me, I think it was great. We got to keep everybody, nobody went missing, and in Jujutsu Kaisen Shippuden, we'll see when they all get wrecked. Now, this was a Geeks Leak. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. And if you're interested in any more Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, anime, manga, Dragon Ball, comic books, anything, right here at the Geek Leak. We'll see you next time.